You stupid bitch. Yeah, you're a stupid bitch. You stupid bitch.
Welcome to another episode of Stupid Bitches Say What, the Aussie podcast about everything and nothing, but always with wine. And your hosts, Skyly Collett and Sean Hickens.
This week, we are discussing the magic of musicals as we each bring our three faves to the podcasting table. Well, three of our faves. There's many faves. Sky serenades us with her love of Greece, the sound of music, and beaches, please. Well, I'm reliving the joy of my obsessions with Annie, A West Side Story, and The Greatest Showman. What are you drinking, Sky?
So many thoughts running through my head after that intro, by the way, but I'm going to just put them into a little box and I'm going to just jump into what I'm drinking. Okay, so I'm drinking Secret Stone Marlborough 2021 Sauv Blanc from New Zealand. It's a tiny baby.
And Zeta.
But it's quite lovely, and I had strict instructions because Tyler picked it up from the bottle shop for me, not to get me the Stoneleigh because I do have lots of money saved in Naked and I need to do a big order. So what are you drinking, Sean?
I am still on La Ladies, and it is a Cab Sav, which is my favorite blend for all those Naked wine producers listening. It's Stone Dwellers 2018 Cabernet Sauvignon.
2018, that's a little bit fancy.
Thank you. It's actually
so delicious. Is this a new bottle?
This is a new bottle from the first step, and I could not taste any transition. So there was no shivers, any timbers, anything like that.
So you're drinking two little half bottles, or is that a full bottle that you've cracked open there?
Look, I'd appreciate it if you didn't try and call me out and come for me in front of our viewers.
I'm just trying to gauge what's going to happen this evening because I'm on a bottle. I've had two beers in the first podcast and on the second podcast.
I had half a bottle in the first step. In one glass.
And what are
you
your
were a little bit late,
intentions?
so I drank probably about a quarter of the glass while I was waiting. And I've never been late, so I don't even understand. That's so rude.
Look, I think we're pretty even Stevens with the lateness at this point.
We are.
I've been late a few times too.
We're understanding. And committed to the craft, if you will.
Do you know what I have to say? And I had saved this bottle of red that Belinda Bosart had given me at Christmas time. Do you remember she gave me that lovely bottle of red as well as the beautiful gift you're drinking out of one of those glasses? I saved it. Then I was very, very enthralled in an episode of Maths last night, and I have to play catch up. I'm not up to date, by the way, with Maths. I'm super behind. So I'm up to, and I couldn't keep my eyes open in here. We watched 3 episodes last night, though. I'm up to the sex one.
Commitment ceremony?
Yes, seeing the commitment, the first commitment, the very first. So I'm up to where they have sex week, and she doesn't want to. Old mate doesn't want to have sex. He doesn't want to have sex because she's on a period.
Yeah, I know, and she got really offended by it.
Oh, I laughed.
I know I'm a
and all the other boys.
I would sort of think, I probably wouldn't want to go in there either.
Oh, darling, that's because you're a gay man.
Yeah, I wouldn't want someone going into my bleeding anus either.
How often does that happen, though? Monthly? Because it happens monthly to women.
It does.
And look, let's not make this a discussion about periods because, I'm sure our listeners don't want to hear about that. But it was very amusing. And look, what I was trying to say was that
you haven't seen the dinner party then.
No, so I'm saving the dinner party for Sunday. So Sarah's coming over, my sister's coming over on Sunday. Because we were watching all the Maths together when we were living together, we agreed that we'd make a Sunday dinner party because the dinner party is the last episode of the week. So we thought because we had all these, we both were really behind in our episodes. And I said, we can't spend a whole Sunday, she lives half an hour away. We can't spend a whole Sunday watching maths every week. Let's just save the dinner party each week and watch the dinner party together, and we'll have lunch and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Anyway, so she's coming over on Sunday. So, but I'm not up to the dinner party yet because we're up to intimacy week. But what I was going to say was that I decided last night I had no other booze in the house, and I really felt like a wino that had a very long week. I was watching maths, so I said to Tyler, I'm just going to have one glass of this red. If I try to drink this whole bottle, you need to stop me. And he said, good luck. That's never going to happen. You're never going to listen to me. So I had one sip of the glass, and I said, okay, I'm allowed to have two glasses, and then you have to cut me off.
So it was a good red.
It was a great red, and I did, of course, drink the entire bottle. But it was the one that Belinda got me. So because she's a frequent listener /fan/friend, she knows us well and knows how we love the Cab Sauv. So it's a M&G, it's a Morgan and Gill Cab Sauv. It's a 2016. I didn't even notice that either when I was drinking it. Can you see that there? It's not, I like to go for a little bit of a picture, so I probably would have walked past this in the bottle shop most time, but I tell you what, it was fucking beautiful. And it's an Aussie wine too, so when you see her next, ask her where the fuck she got it from, because I'm going to be buying some more of these fuckers. So it was delicious. Belinda,
this is your challenge, and it would also prove to us that you're listening to all these episodes. When you hear this, can you please advise Sky where you got that bottle of wine? If it takes you till April to do so, you're in trouble.
It's a test. It's a motherfucking test. Anyways.
So this week, I watched Tinder Swindler on Netflix. Have you watched that yet?
I haven't, but I've seen it coming up on my feed, and everyone's talking about it. The same with the other Swindler one, the chick who pretended she was a heiress or whatever it was. Oh. So it's all about the swindling, and it's made by the chick who did Grey's Anatomy.
Well, this one I think is done by the same people who did Don't Fuck with Cats. Did you watch that?
Right. As I've seen the imagery, no, I didn't. But as I've seen the imagery, it did remind me a little bit of that.
Yes.
I did get a bit of a Don't Fuck with Cats. I didn't watch it, but I know of it.
Don't Fuck with Cats is brilliant. They the thing about the cats that you don't want to see, they don't really show. They just show the beginnings of the shit. But the Tinder Swindler, it's not a series like Don't Fuck with Cats is. It's just a 1 2-hour episode movie sort of shit.
So it's not the vegan restaurant chick, is it? Because there's another one going around. She's the vegan restaurant owner, and she got swindled too.
No.
By someone and ended up eating pizza and stuff, and she was renowned for being this crazy vegan in New York, and everyone idolized her, and all the celebrities went there, and she was fake as well. It's fake stuff going around. It's like a niche market or something at the moment.
Yeah. Well, this guy was he was a fucking genius. Again, someone who could put their powers to good, but he just swindles.
Used it for evil.
Out of thousands and thousands of dollars. It's very good. 2 hours long. It's not much of a commitment. I was hesitant to start watching it because I thought it would be a journey. So it was like maybe one Sunday. Then we saw it was just one episode in 2 hours, and we watched it in that night, and it's fucking brilliant.
So whose idea was it, yours or Vinny's?
Michelle O'Sullivan actually pushed us to continue to watch it.
Michelle.
She's like, I can't believe you haven't even seen it yet. The whole of Australia's seen it. Come on, you losers, watch it. I want to talk to you about it. And then we watched it. Yeah, it's very good. But also another update. Have you seen the latest of Kanye?
Only what we talked about on Monday night, which is all the posts that he was putting and being a little bit crazy.
He's deleted his post. I think he's only
got 3
posts on there now. And there was one post that it was saying basically, I'm just a man, I'm a human, I fuck up, I apologize, I learn to grow and all this shit.
Oh, his publicist has gotten involved now. She's just woken up from whatever fucking slumber she was in and gone, shit, damage control.
Well, that fucking meme you sent me, which I included in one of our social media posts about Ben Affleck going outside having a cigarette. How good was it? After 4 days. Fuck me. You can see him just going, oh, for fuck's sake.
Totally. Oh, yeah, he's all over the shop, isn't he?
Kanye and Julia Fox are now broken up.
We were talking about that on Monday night. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, so they've broken up this
baggage.
Well, and also the fact that he just obviously was using Julia Fox to get try and get Kim jealous. He was doing her makeup and all that shit. Like he's a fucking psychopath. And yeah, no, they're broken up now. And she said she liked Kim Kardashian's posts and all that stuff. She was still very super cool with Kim and whatnot. But yeah, no, they're done and dusted. It was never going to be an ongoing thing. And he's still professing his love to Kim and that Jesus will bring Kim back to him.
Look, all the money in the world, seriously, that level of baggage is just too much. If you're a self-respecting woman, you will run a mile. You'll be like, you sort your shit out first, then call me in a couple of years when you're back.
I like your music, but it's a no.
I do like your music, but
I'm out. Yeah, I don't like his music either.
Oh, look, I quite enjoy some of it.
Stronger is one of the best songs.
Link loves Kanye, thinks he's crazy and is, a bit of a wanker, but loves his music, loves it. So I listen to a lot because he listens to it. But I like his early stuff too. And I remember when he first came on the scene, and I remember Aaron saying to me, "You've got to listen to this album. It's amazing," and it was. And his early stuff, look, every time I listen to Kanye stuff, I think, what a great song. But I don't like have him on my playlist or anything like that, except for the one he did with Rihanna.
It's like saying that Tom Cruise is a great actor and he's got great movies, but I don't like Tom Cruise.
I hate Tom Cruise. He's the worst. Yeah, I will not watch a movie because he's in it. That's how much I hate him. Yeah. I like Jerry Maguire.
Days of Thunder. Oh, and I even loved Far and Away. I loved Far and Away, the one where they were Irish.
I haven't seen it for a really long time, so maybe I would like it. But
again, yeah.
He's another example of having a bad publicist, giving him such bad publicity because he let his sister take over. He sacked his publicist, who was around for years and years and years. His sister took over, and she was really bad at it.
Here, I've got a great idea. Go on Oprah and jump on a couch.
Yeah.
It's going to win millions of fans. What about Survivor this week?
Okay, so before you say anything, I'm pretty sure I am, but there's a chance I may have missed an episode. So we saw Amy go. We saw Amy go. Is that up to date?
Oh, yeah. That was my mum's person. So it started the week with me going.
So John's got Khan because they've got a couple, don't they? So John's got Khan. Okay.
So I put to lead in. I hope to God Josh gets booted soon. I can't stand the head on him.
I think he's a fucking wanker.
Oh, he's right.
But I like Jordan. I actually really like Jordan. And then he got back to his cousin, and him and Amy were clearly, she was a bit of a woman scorned.
Yeah.
There was clearly something going on between them, and then he ditched her entirely for his cousin, which is like, it's your cousin, man. Yeah. It's not like you're fucking...
Get over it. Even if you're close, think about your games. Fucking Nina voted out her mother, for fuck's sake.
That was insane.
I said to Mum today, look, Mum, if it causes you this much distress, you don't have to be in the Survivor Suite. She goes, I want to be in this to be able to hang shit on people. It's worth my $10 to be able to hang shit on people. And I said, okay, cool. Well, as you're interested. And she also said to Vinny, so we've had, as we've mentioned before, a couple of double winners and shit like that, which is crazy. Out of the amount we've had people who've won twice. Vinny won twice. Donna won twice.
Jason,
I'm sure, has won twice. So
I think you're right there, yeah.
Donna and Jason have been voted out. And then Mum's like, no, I'm sorry, Vinny, but my sights are set on you and Belinda next because Belinda's won twice too. So she's got a sight.
But they're Maria and Belinda are Croc and Chrissy,
Belinda's
aren't they?
Chrissy and Vinny's Jordan, and they don't look like they're going anywhere for a little while.
I don't know about Jordan. He could end up being collateral damage, but I think Chrissy, Croc, Mark and Sam, as long as Sam pulls ahead in a little bit, because I think her gunning for Sophie the way that she was, whereas Mark is playing the game, mate. He is like in the zone. He's like in the zone. He's thinking of every single angle that could possibly get him. He's flying under the radar.
I actually feel like Sam's getting a winner's edit though. I wouldn't be surprised if she wins.
Yeah, okay, because it would come down between the two and he'd be the gentleman and give it up to her because he loves it.
And Sophie's gone now, so she doesn't have to have that as a hindrance anymore in her game.
You could be right.
But
I adore Chrissy.
Yeah, I know. And
yes.
It could be our first 3-time champ.
Oh my God, stop it. I would love to have Chrissy. And I feel for Croc. Like, did you see how vulnerable he was when he talked about not playing NRL anymore and how he had a really hard time because his identity was taken away from him and he lost all his confidence? For a man to talk about losing your confidence like that was just really confronting. I was like, oh, you poor little baby. And he just seems like a man who'd just been knocked down a few peaks. Do you know what I mean? Like, he just... Oh, and then he keeps losing all the challenges against Mark, and I'm like, let him win, he needs a win.
Let's get into this episode.
As I was reading the intro, you've listed for me Grease, The Sound of Music, and Beaches. Mm-hmm. And as I read through those three...
It's actually called Stupid Beaches, Say What? But anyway.
God. That was really bad. But as much as I adore Grease and I adore The Sound of Music, I love Beaches the most. So I'm going to talk about that first because I recently watched Beaches as well. I made Lola, my niece, watch it with me.
Horrible auntie. She would have been a mess after that.
She didn't cry at all. And me and my sister were like, we can't believe that you haven't cried, not even in the songs. I don't think it holds up for the younger generation the way that it does for us. Look, I think it is aged when you watch it, but it's classic. Like, it's classic.
So when I lived in New Zealand with Vinny in 2011, I bought him that Christmas a few DVDs, and one of them was Beaches, the other was The Colour Purple, my favourites that he'd never seen. We sat and watched Beaches.
So, I'm sorry, let's back up a second. So when you knew Vinny in New Zealand, he had never seen Beaches before, ever.
Never seen Beaches.
What is happening?
I know. And when we watched it...
How do you grow up in the 80s and not see Beaches?
I know. But yeah, no, so I got a Beaches. He watched it for the first time when we were in New Zealand. He was bawling like a bitch. So it translated well or aged well enough 10 years ago to still be
I saw it.
I
saw it for I've seen it so many times. I made Tyler, when Tyler and I first started dating, I made him watch it with me, and him and I got into a really big fight because I said to him, who's better looking, Bette Midler? Who do you find more attractive, Bette Midler or what's her face?
What's her name?
Brunette. I can't believe I forgot what it is.
What's the name of the show? What are their names in the show?
I can't believe I'm blanking on it because I was Barbara Hershey. It is Barbara Hershey.
She's
anyway,
one.
So I said, and he said to me, obviously Barbara Hershey, and I said, pardon me, what do you mean, Barbara Hershey? She's nothing compared to Cece. Like, Cece has the style and the grace and the talent and the beauty and the charisma and everything.
Oh my God.
Like, what's her face is nothing. And he was like, well, you asked me this and looks and blah, blah, blah. We got into this huge fight because I was like so offended that he didn't think that Cece was the hotter out of the two. And it was about the scene where she sleeps with the dude who's the John, who's the director of it, and Cece's into him, and she goes and sleeps with him. And I was really mad. I always get really mad in that scene. It makes me so mad that she does that, and Cece forgives her instantly.
Yeah. But what's that fight they had when they finally so Cece Bloom and what's her friend's name? Who does Barbara play? Hillary. And she goes to Hillary, like, what is it, Barbara? She goes, you had everything. And she's Cece. Oh, when she's pregnant and she says, Hillary, you got fat. And she laughs and she goes, I'm not fat, I'm pregnant. She's like, but also the fight that they have when and I love this scene, when she's in the musical, no. Oh yeah, Industry
the other one.
charity.
Industry charity. Hey, oh, that's one song that's on my playlist, my all-time playlist. Like, I love that song so much. And I love the film clip. And then she turns around, she's got the same mask on. Sorry, you are actually right. The not the gunslinger, what's his name?
Artie Titslinger Ventura.
Titslinger is the one when she comes in with the husband. You are right. The one like this.
Twice a week. Yeah.
One with the mask, the industry chariot. That's the one. And
CC
no, that's when Hillary sleeps with him.
Doesn't Cece get with John in the end?
She does, but then he divorces her because her fame takes. So what happens is Hillary fucks John after the industry chariot. So they get all these amazing reviews, and she's just becoming an up-and-comer. You know, her talent is being recognised for the first time, and they end up sleeping together. But then her dad is sick, and she's going back to visit her dad the next day. And she goes, "Will you water my plants?" After they have that big fight, because they slept together. She goes, "Did you sleep with him?" And it's just like, "I did, and I feel sick about it. I'm so sorry, but I know that you like him."
Right.
Then they have it out, and then they sort of go, she forgives it.
You water my
she
plants,
loves it so
and
much.
then the plants all die. But she's still communicating with them. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "I miss you too." And so then what happens?
Email people.
Yes, and so then what happens is that she goes back to look after her dad. Her dad's sick for a while. She doesn't come back to New York because she's looking after her dad. She meets the husband. She marries him. And then she comes to visit after all these years apart. And she's in the Titslinger performance, which isn't done by John. John doesn't do it. He's still doing the little bit plays that, you know, blah, 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 that he loves. But they've got a mansion, they've got the crazy dog, and, you know, she's super, super successful. And then the husband doesn't like her. Yes, the husband doesn't like her. And then her and Hillary have a huge fight because Hillary's really jealous. She's jealous that Cece did all the things that she wanted to do, and Hillary ended up going back into that mold. You know, she broke out of that mold and was, you know, working for poor people and, you know, human rights staff in New York, and then she went back and became a rich lawyer's wife, and she hates herself. And, such a great movie. Anyway, and then I guess technically, do you think it's technically a musical? Because depending on the list that I found, lots of places referred to it as a musical, but then lots of lists left it off. I
get the confusion.
There's songs in it.
I get the confusion because when you said to me you were doing Beaches, I thought, is that a musical? And then within 2 seconds in my head, I was like, yes, it's a musical. She sings songs throughout it. She does that whole baby of mine.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Rest your head close to my heart, never to part, baby of mine. Which is from Dumbo.
But and when I was like, oh, I love this song so much. It's such a beautiful song. But such a great film, and she is such a legend. Like, I have loved Bette Midler from when, like, and I think I'd seen it. Has she been in the other stuff before Beaches? I'm sure that she had.
Yeah, she's in. She's done First Wives Club. She was also in Outrageous Fortune.
No, that's not
Outrageous
before Beaches,
Fortune.
though. Was definitely before Beaches. You are right about that.
And there's the one where she's the twins. Big Business.
Big Business.
She's done a heap of them. She's done a heap of them.
But I haven't seen those movies in years. And have you seen Stella, where she ends up on the streets?
Yes, I have.
The Stella. Have you seen? It's more brutal than Beaches. It's such a and it has a really sad, brutal ending. Oh my God!
Okay.
I feel like I need to go on like a whole Bette Midler fucking yeah. I actually had her down as a pop culture episode, just her in general and all the films. Anyway, so look, we've talked. Yeah, she's just amazing. I just love her so much. But we have talked about Beaches quite a bit. There's so many musicals that we need to cover. I think we need to go one for one. Like, I think you need to take one now, and then I'll take one, because otherwise it's just going to be me getting sidetracked.
Can I just say,
how can anyone ever be done with Beaches? No one's ever done with Beaches.
I retract my statement. For this podcast, is your Beaches segment done?
I'm going to say one final thing about Beaches. If you haven't, you go and then I'll go, and then I'll be done with Beaches. I was also
going to say, the way they deal with the death scene at the end is brilliant, because you don't go through the whole fucking trauma of, you go through the dying part, but you don't go through the actual death. It just all of a sudden turns into, did you ever know that you're my hero?
But what about when she tells her?
Where she tells the daughter, can I live with you? Do you know there's a Beaches too?
Can I take my cat? Can I take my cat? And she's like,
you
of course I can take your cat.
Do you know there's a
your mummy wanted you to live with me, but if you don't want to live with me, there's heaps of people who want you. Everybody wants you. You don't have to live with me. I want you, but you don't have to live with me. I'll understand. I'm like, I'm bored. And Laura's just looking at my sister.
We all want to live with you, Bet.
You can bring your cat.
Yeah. But do you know, like, Beaches was a book, and then there's a Beaches 2, which goes on about Cece and the child's life together. But they obviously
wasn't. I feel like I did know that, but I can't believe I've never read that book. I can't believe I've never read it. The original book either.
If they haven't made a movie out of the sequel, it's pretty shit.
That's a good Christmas present for me, if you're thinking. Just get me both. Get me the first and the second book.
Stupid Beaches 2.
Read it from the. I need, continuity. I have to read the first one, because sometimes I leave stuff out originally. If I'm going to do the second book, I have to go first, second book.
All right. Okay. Beaches 1 and 2.
But yes, before we move on to the next music, I'm going to say one thing. If you haven't seen Beaches, or you have seen Beaches and you don't love it, you're no friend of mine.
Beaches, please.
Beaches, bitches.
Beaches, please. All right. So moving on to those people who are now still with us after the ones that Sky's disowned. And look, I'm a loyal friend of Sky, and I'm a loyal viewer of Beaches, and I stand by her statement on that. So see you later, those.
Watch it all walk off.
Yeah, we're doing walk up. So my love of musicals actually started when I was probably about 5 years old. Could you believe? And it started with the movie.
It's not surprising to me.
It started with the movie Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Have you seen that?
I've never seen it, but it came up in all my lists, and I was like, I've never seen that. I need to watch it.
So I could be wrong here, but it's in the same vein of the whole old Rodgers and Hammerstein's musicals, Oklahoma.
A little bit of Shenandoah, yeah.
That type of stuff. So it was one that Mum and I had watched when I was a very young child, and Mum had recorded it off the TV, as she did back then.
That's a bit like Sound of Music for me, but yes.
On a beta, no less. Beta.
We talked about Beta before. Beta was going to take over the world, and then...
Yeah, VHS fucking did it, and where are they now? They're both dead. So we watched it endlessly. I watched it over and over again, and like I can still remember songs from it. I don't know if it's one of those musicals that would age well with me. Like if I watched it now, I think I wouldn't be as interested. But there is nothing like a dame, nothing like the world. That song, bless your beautiful hide, wherever you may be. So it's all that shit. And the background of the movies is actually a painted backdrop, that type of shit of the mountains and stuff.
Oh, that's a bit Sound of the Music too. A Sound of Music, isn't it? Like the hills are alive, but is in the hills, but there's lots of painted backdrops in Sound of Music. Yeah,
where the birds don't actually move across the sky. So I loved that movie so much, and used to watch it all the time until my dad ended up taping over it with an episode of The A-Team. I was devastated. I remember watching it and like going, the A-team's there, and then at the end of the A-team, the rest of the movie would start. I'm like, but how do we get it back? How do we get the A-team off it?
It's gone, son. It's gone.
It's gone. It was actually the start of a magical musical bond with my mother that still exists today, and also sparked my love of A West Side Story, which I'll talk about later. We also already know about my love of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And there are so many
we do
that are on that list that I wish I could talk about tonight, but obviously.
So many more.
For three.
We didn't even do The Wizard of Oz.
Well, we didn't.
Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. The Oompa fucking Loopers.
Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 to this. So my latest...
we should have just picked one. We should have picked one each. And then, you know, a 3 was 2. That's 6. That's 6. We can't even get through fucking 2.
All right, we'll see what we can get through. But the other one that's just been added to my list, the most recent favourite musical that's been added to my list.
My house, your house.
Is Dear Evan Hansen.
I haven't seen it, but know of it. Of course, everyone knows of it.
So I watched it for the first time when they released it as a movie a few months ago with my brother Lee and Vinny. It's a stage show. That's become a movie. It's copped a lot of flack.
Oh, I thought it was widely accepted. Like everyone thought it was amazing.
Everyone loved the stage show, and the guy who plays the lead on Broadway played the lead in the movie. And now they're like, oh, this is a 26-year-old playing a high school student. And it's like, bitch, have you seen High School Musical? There's a 28-year-old playing a fucking high school.
But the guy who wrote it is the guy from Pitch Perfect.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So he's got the curly blonde hair, and I thought he played it, the main character, but he would be older than 26. He'd be in his 30s.
Oh, yeah. No, this guy is brilliant in the role. The actual whole concept of it, it's a conflicting argument and all that shit, and it makes you sort of question which side you'd be on. But it was so good. Anyway, after Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which I'm not sure I'd get the same enjoyment out of today if I watched it again. My next musical obsession life. Well, I might do, but my next musical obsession in life was the classic Annie. Have you seen Annie?
Look, no, and I haven't seen West Side Story either. I know. God. I know.
And have you even?
I'm not proud.
Show? We need a musical.
No, we're just so busy. We don't have time to watch films together in the same location.
Well, we might have to make a day of it. Anyway, fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I love you more. I love you more.
Annie is the story about the little red-headed orphan who is patiently waiting to be collected by her parents who left her at the orphanage. It also stars the great Carol Burnett as Miss Hannigan, who I love. Her rendition of little girls, everywhere I turn, I can see them. As she gets blind in the bathtub is one of my favorite musical numbers ever. Tim Curry is in it as Miss Hannigan.
Oh, you love Tim Curry.
I do. He's in it as Miss Hannigan's brother, Rooster. It's fun seeing him, but Frankenfurter is king. So the story is basically Annie becomes part of a media stunt for a billionaire, Daddy Warbucks, and gets a chance to move into his mansion for a little while. While she's there, she wins the hearts of the staff and eventually Daddy Warbucks, who wants to adopt her. She refuses, as she's still confident her parents will be coming back. So Daddy Warbucks funds a media campaign with a hefty reward to whoever can find her parents. Thousands of people turn up pretending to be her parent, but they're all imposters. And Miss Hannigan actually hatches a plan with her bro Rooster, using a locket that was with Annie when she arrived at the orphanage to act as Annie's parents. So Annie's parents actually die in a fire that she doesn't know about when she's a baby, when she's struck.
Sounds a little bit like Pippi Longstocking.
Pippi Longstocking is
coming into your world. A freckle-faced red-headed girl.
I haven't seen that in
Loved
years
it.
too. I think my dad must have thought to himself when I was 12 and 13, watching musicals like Pippi Longstocking is coming into your world, going, I'm pretty sure my son ain't the full quid. Anyway.
Well, I read the books to Link, the Pippi Longstocking books when he was younger, and he adored Pippi. And then he saw the film and he was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I loved it. She put sponges on her feet to clean the floor. Pippi Longstocking.
Just crazy. But it's a very budget. It's a very budget film if you see it as an adult or a child.
Child. Where's my child?
A child who's used to animation.
A decent animation too.
Yeah.
So anyway, fucking Miss Hannigan hatches a plan with Rooster. She's got the locket. Annie's parents are dead in the fire that Annie and no one knew about. Well, everyone knew about, except for Annie. They collect.
It's the hard knock life for us. It's the hard knock life for us.
No one cares for you or a smidge when you're in an orphanage. It's a hard knock life.
Tomorrow.
I love ya. Tomorrow.
You're
only a day away. Anyway, so Miss Hannigan and her brother Rooster collect her from Daddy Warbucks with the fake fucking announcement that they're her parents. But when it's found out they're fake, a mad dash is set out to save Annie from the evil clutches. Miss Hannigan does, in the end, become a bit of a hero, and it gave me great joy seeing her ride into the adoption party on the back of a giant African elephant. I used to drive my brothers mad as I would play this.
Again, sounds like Pippi Longstocking.
Over and over and over again, joyfully singing along to every song. Which, of course, it gave us the songs such as Tomorrow. And do you remember, Dumb Dog, Why Are You Following Me? And then, of course, as we sang,
I don't remember that one.
Hard Knock Life, which was also in the Austin Powers Goldmember movie. And I think Kanye did a version of Hard Knock Life.
Yeah, he does. He has done a version.
And over 8,000 girls auditioned for the role of Annie. And that's my Annie.
Okay, so musical number 2 for me is a bit more traditional, but everyone can relate to the fact that it is, in fact, a musical, although I do believe that Beaches fits the criteria for a musical. Let's talk about Grease. Let's talk about You're the One That I Want.
Well, it is the word.
Honey, the one that I want. You are the one I want. So I had the soundtrack on cassette tape, and I loved every single song. It was like it was maybe my third or fourth cassette tape that I had in my life, because the original cassette tape that I got, my very first cassette tape was Madonna. Not the Material Girl one, the Like a Virgin one. That was my first cassette tape that I got as a gift, and that was about probably 86, 87. And I remember my dad being outraged that my auntie hadn't brought it for me. She was like, "It's talking about a virgin. This is too rude for her. She's only little." But I loved it. And that was her earlier work. But then not long after that, I went on to get the Grease soundtrack. But I think my mum brought for herself, and I snaked it one day and used to just listen to it on repeat. Every song spoke to me in a different way. Like, I loved them all. I couldn't even pick one. If I had to pick one, it would be Hopelessly Devoted to You. But I really can't pick one. Stranded at the drive-in. Branded a fool. What would they say Monday at school? So I'm saying, like, that's baby, I'm in misery.
You know what song my favourite probably is?
These are the basic songs. They're not even the good popular songs, and I still know all the words and love them. But yeah, go say what you're going to say.
I think my favourite song is probably Look at Me, I'm Sandra Dee. Look at me.
No.
Oh, no. My favourite song is fucking Rizzo. There are worse things I could do. They get with
to go with the boy or two.
Even though the neighborhood thinks
I'm trashy and no good.
I suppose
there are words that could be true.
But there are
worse things I could do.
Yeah.
Right. So that is the best song on that entire album. You are absolutely right about that. I have to agree. So I'll have to tell you, one of our good friends, Kelly, she was obsessed with Grease too. And I never really, as much as I was into Grease 100%, like know it by heart almost, I never really got into Grease too. But through her, she's a couple of years, she's about 3 years younger than me, so quite a bit younger than you. But she was a Grease 2 fan. So I got into Grease 2. Well, that's 6 for you with Kel. It's quite a lot. It's quite a gap.
Not as much as a gap as between you and your future husband. So don't throw stones, bitch.
Look, I have accepted it. So should you. Okay? I'm going to marry him. So you should accept it.
Well, I love him.
I know he's the best. But we love it. So she was super into it, loved it, knew all the songs, knew everything. And then every time we try to come together,
rock and roll.
No, she loved the one that was
for your country, the red, white, and the blue.
No, that's not the one. I'm going to tell you. And I ended up knowing all the words because she loved it so much. And we used to all, Rider, you want a cuckoo, rider, you want a boo. That's the one she loved. And I ended up knowing all the words. Yes. But it's insane because you know how like some things skip generations or certain age groups, do you know what I mean? Like, because we're not a different generation. But it's funny that she was, and her sisters all knew all the songs, like me and my sister did with, you know, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and Sound of Music and stuff like that. So they knew them all, but for whatever reason at the time, and I remember Mum saying to me when Grease 2 came out that it was a shit movie. But yes, it had Michelle Pfeiffer in it. Like, and what's her name came back? Pinky came back. She was the only original. Frenchie. Yeah. And then one of the T-Birds came back, but one of the shit ones. But that was it. There was no original people other than Frenchie and one of the shitty T-Birds. Everyone else moved on.
It was always a bit weird though how at the end of Grease, the car flew off into the fucking sky.
So weird. So weird. And I put it on
theories about that too. That they were dead.
I put it on for Lincoln Lola years ago before I moved to Central Coast. This is probably about 6 years ago when I used to make them watch old school movies and they used to genuinely enjoy it because they loved me so much. And I put Grease on and they loved it so much. But then they got to the end and the way they poked all the holes, like potholes, I was like, never really thought about it like that. It's just what happened. They just flew off into the air.
Bye, guys. We're
going it's like, now. It doesn't fit with the rest of the storyline. It's so random. You're right. But tell me the theories. What theories do you know?
I know. So there's been fan theories out there about the fact that they actually died and the whole fun fair at the end.
In the fun house. They died in the fun house.
You're doing the shoe up, shoe on, wanna do up, do what. Shoe up, shoe up, do. Chang, 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 chang.
Chang, chang, chang. Chang the way it will be.
Yeah, maybe
we'll
always
be together.
Maybe there was a fire at McKinley High School. Was it McKinley?
You're thinking of Glee. Glee was McKinley. I can't remember what's. Rydell High. Go Rydell.
Yeah, Rydell, where the fucking and the stupid ding 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 ding.
Yeah, and the teacher and the chick used to always the teacher's aide or the deputy.
Is that the principal? And then they moon the camera.
Oh, such a great film.
Chachi or Cha-Cha or whatever her name was.
On the guy with the scars on his face. Yeah, I hated that bit.
No, Chachi. Whatever the chick who stole John Travolta.
Yeah, Cha-Cha or whatever her name was. Yeah, who went out with the guy with the acne and they were together and she did the flag one time.
Horrible.
Yeah, she was horrible. But yes, look, John Travolta,
John Travolta, yep.
Olivia Newton-John, in their prime of life, you know, the hottest that they've ever looked. Look at them now, super aged, but yeah, with all that, you know, talent that they had, and such a great storyline for those times.
Well, look, there's a lot of the stuff that happened in that movie now that they're like, oh, this is not good, or it's not PC. You know how there's a lot of stuff that happens that it's just like, oh, you can't do that anymore.
Everything is not PC. Like everything that we grew up is not PC. So yeah, you have to acknowledge, you know, what doesn't translate these days, but also be like, if, you know, it wasn't appropriate, but this is what people used to think. Yeah. But we learn from that.
Exactly. So my next movie is A West Side Story,
which I haven't seen.
Wow. So I told you about my birth of my love of musicals.
You're gonna break up with me now? Are we not best friends anymore?
No. I'll just educate you until you become a bit better. So I already know about how my love of musicals stemmed from my mother and what Mama.
9 Angry Men, 9 Lazy Men, 9 Happy Men.
7 Brides for 7 Brothers. And in that movie, the brothers actually kidnap the brides to become their fucking wives. So again, one that doesn't translate so well. But no, the brides love it in the end. You know?
But the music's great.
And the brides were just cooking pies in their house. And then they got kidnapped, but that's okay. So anyway, West Side Story. So I remember back in the day when I was a child, my parents were very heavily involved with the Labour Party. And I mean, to a level where we would have so many Labour functions, fundraising functions, all that shit at our house. And they used to have cards nights. And the house would be full of fucking 50 people stand around four-person card tables playing 500 and shit. And I remember one Friday night. It was hectic. It was great. But I remember one night we had this party and I was watching this show on TV, A West Side Story. But my mum kept running in when the ads would come on and push pause on the player and then run back and play a hand of cards. And then the movie would start again. She'd run back and push unrecord. So she was recording it off the TV, but pausing out the ads. And like I was obsessed. By that stage, I was probably about half an hour in and I was watching it and I'm just like, yeah, I'm hooked. And I would have been 10 at the time. I remember saying to Mum when she came running in one time, when she hit the pause button, like, are you recording this? I mean, duh. But are you recording this? She's like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Are you enjoying it? I'm like, yeah. I'll push the button for you. It's fine. I'll do it. And she was like, you could see the pride come over in her eyes and her face. She's like, thank you, son. She sat down and played. And then for the rest of the movie, I was there doing the pause, unpause, and watched it. And I fucking loved it. And what West Side
What a part of life that was back in the day, the pause, the unpause. You know, totally. Kids don't understand that anymore. And it's like when you went to the tunnel, you'd run to the toilet and pee, and then you'd like wait till someone yelled at you, it's back on! You fucking hurl in.
And this is before remotes as well. So you literally had to push pause on the fucking thing.
Yeah, you had to sit in front of it.
Yeah. So West Side Story is a modern take, was another take on Romeo and Juliet, but it's set in America. And you got the Montagues versus the Capulets. This was the Sharks versus the Jets, the two gangs in America.
They've just redid West Side Story, haven't they? It's the Heights. Is it the Heights?
No,
yes. Okay.
No, the Heights is its own music. They've redone the West Side Story, and it's called the West Side Story still.
Oh, right. Okay. I've got them confused, but I did know that they'd just recently redone it.
They have, yes. And Steven Spielberg's done it. It's meant to be amazing. So
I love Steven Spielberg.
You got your two gangs in America, the Sharks and the Jets. When you're a jet all the way from your first cigarette to your last dying day. When you're a jet, you could do anything. Little man, you're a boy. Little boy, you're a man. Little man, you're a king. The Jets are in town. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. And the Sharks, who are the Puerto Ricans. So you got the Puerto Ricans in America, who are the Sharks, And then you've got the Jets, the gang of the Jets, which are built up from the leftover whites, basically. So the Polish and the Irish in America that still weren't getting a chance.
This is set in New York, West Side.
Set in America, I'm not sure. I'm guessing New York. But they're all street kids, and they're staking their claim on the streets. But of course,
through dance and song. Through dance and song.
Is there any other way to settle a fight? I mean, damn. But of course, a love tale begins.
Starts off with song.
Yeah, my bet. But a love tale begins. So Maria, who was the sister of the gang leader of the Sharks, Bernardo, falls in love with Tony, who used to be one of the gang leaders of the Jets. And so it's this fucking forbidden love tale between the two of them, yada, yada, yada. All the shit goes on, they start fighting. My mum won't watch it past. So about halfway through the movie, there's a rumble. There's going to be a rumble tonight. And the rumble
Your mum won't watch it after that?
No, so my mum won't watch before. So in the rumble, Bernardo, my mother's favourite character, dies. He gets stabbed. And my mum won't watch it past Bernardo dying. So she stops it. She was obsessed. She was also obsessed with fucking Imran Khan from Pakistan, the cricketer. She likes her chocolate men, I think. Anyway, the cast production is amazing. My favorite songs are, there's a rendition of Tonight that's done by all the cast, including Anita, who's my favorite out of the whole bunch. It's amazing, but the best song, and I will show you this song, because the dance, the whole performance, the choreography of it on this one song called America is fucking phenomenal. It's done on a rooftop on one of the buildings in New York. I like to be in America. Okay, buy me in America. Everything free in America. Bought a small fee in America. It's the women of the Puerto Rican women singing against the men, having a dance off against the Puerto Rican men, saying why they love America, and the Puerto Rican men saying it's shit, basically. We have to fight for everything, yada, yada, yada. I have to show you. It's so good. So we went and saw the stage production of West Side Story last year, and I was waiting. I couldn't wait for the America production, the America fucking song. But they do it differently in the stage show to what they did in the movie.
They always do, though. They always do.
It was a little bit of...
Especially reimagined versions, like newer versions.
Mm. And they do it again differently, I think, in the new version of the movie, but still stick to more of what happened in the original movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'd totally recommend watching the original.
Oh, I'm so intrigued. I totally want to. Look, we are going to have to do this episode take 2 because I've just completely turned on my heels and I'm not going to do The Sound of Music, which I do want to do. I'm going to go to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory because I have to. I just feel like that's in. Just have a need to talk about that more. But also, the one thing that I need to re-watch it before I talk about it is The Way We Were. So you haven't really fully watched Sex and the City, so you don't understand the pop culture references of The Way We Were. So this is the Barbara Streisand and Robert Redford film.
The Way We Were.
Yeah, and she's obviously a massive singer, and most movies that she is in end up being
like a bet. She's like
a musical. Yeah, she is. She's different styles, but yes.
Same
but also, so I watched The Way We Were after seeing a gazillion pop culture references throughout my life to The Way We Were, and what an amazing movie it was. And I watched it one time flying to Perth. Remember we used to fly to Perth for work, and we used to meet up there and enjoy getting drunk in the lounge together through our work perks.
Yeah.
And I remember it was either on the way there or on the way back one time, and you weren't with me, obviously, one of the times. But I watched The Way We Were because it was a 5-hour trip. You needed a really good movie to invest in. Yeah. And I watched The Way We Were, and I was absolutely flabbergasted. Like, I expect it to just be like a normal musical, and it's such a anyway, I'm going to just say that. I'm going to reserve it for episode take 2.
Part 2.
But
maybe we need to do a musical episode every season because
maybe
there's so many.
Maybe that's it. That's a thing we might need to, because that wouldn't be difficult, would it?
Not at all.
And we've only just touched the surfaces of the musicals that we've talked about.
So so in the original West Side Story, the actress who plays the original Maria, Natalie Wood, died mysteriously after she
on the boat. We need to do that in True Crime American Edition.
The actress who plays Anita, who is Bernardo's girlfriend and is my favorite. I fucking love Anita. She won Best Supporting Actress for her performance with the Academy Awards, and it wasn't even her singing the songs. It was dubbed.
Controversy.
You love it, don't you?
Milli Vanilli.
Stud. Tell me about it, stud.
I was going to do The Sound of Music, but I'm going to leave it for another time. I've decided I'm going to go with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. It was on my list. I can't believe that I forgot about it. So this was the film that my sister literally wanted to watch every single day when we were kids, like every day. Anytime she could watch it. It was this and The Wizard of Oz, actually. She was obsessed with both. It was insane.
I also love it.
You could ask her right now to quote any moment in either film, and she would just effortlessly be able to tell you any quote, any line, any song lyrics, anything. Like, that's how many times she's watched both those films. But Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, obviously the original, I did see the Johnny Depp version at cinema. We both went to see it, me and my sister together. Didn't rate it. It went into some weird places with his dad.
But it was no original.
And I love Johnny Depp, apart from a recent controversy, which, you know, he's been found, like, allegedly whatever. He's come out of that. Okay. What would you say? You wouldn't say successfully, would you? You'd say he's not.
He's come out of it and he's still got a job.
Yeah. But and I do love him. I've always have, but I didn't take to the film. But Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which was, as I'm looking at it, 1971.
Wow.
Cheer up, Charlie.
Don't
wear a frown. What happened to that boy I used to know?
Gray skies are gonna clear up, Charlie.
That's not it. That's a different song. That's a different song.
No, it's not.
Gray skies are gonna clear up. It doesn't say that. That doesn't happen. That's a different song.
Cheer up, Charlie.
Charlie. What about when the sick grandparents and they get it when he gets out of the bed? What's that song? We need to find it. When they're all in the bed together.
I gotta go.
To ticket.
And with the golden ticket, it's a golden
ticket. It's a golden. No.
Everyone hates Grandpa Charlie because he's fucking lays in bed while his family's on the poverty line, and then as soon as the kid comes in with a golden ticket, he jumps up and dances and goes, "Let's go eat chocolate." It's like you could have been working.
It's an insane story on so many levels. Like you could sit here. It's like me with Star Wars. I will sit here and I will give you every fucking plot hole and every inconsistency that ever happened and say, I'll enjoy it. Okay, how can we do anything but I got another puzzle for you. What do you get when you guzzle down sweets? Eating as much as an elephant eats. What are you at? Getting awfully fat. What will become of that? I don't like the look of it.
I don't like the look of it. Yeah, it's like a child's lesson. Stop eating shit food, stop watching TV, don't chew gum, and stop being a spoiled brat.
And also, what about I Want It Now? Hang on, let's find the lyric, shall we? I want.
My
oh my God, you're so a Veruca Salt.
I want the gold. I want the whole world.
Well,
I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's
my
chocolate,
pocket,
chocolate.
chocolate,
Give it to me.
give it to me now.
Don't care.
Oh.
I want it now. And do you remember it would go?
And the bit where the dad goes,
Bad egg.
yeah, bad egg, and then she goes and he's like, where's she gone? Where's she gone, Wonka? Wonka, where's she gone? Oh, she's gone where all the other bad eggs go. And then he walks up and he goes, wow, where are all the other, well, gee, the week is up. She's gone to the infernus. Well, she might be all right. And he's like,
We can't see any more.
We really haven't done. We haven't done any of the musical episodes justice. We're just touching the iceberg. You know what I'm saying? We're just touching the iceberg and we're pushing it over and going, because we haven't really talked about our opinions. We did in the beginning touch on some history behind how we feel about them, but now we're just going into singing the songs. So I feel like we could recycle all the material with musicals, and there's so many. We haven't even gotten to the animated ones. Let's not go there.
No.
Go The Greatest Showman. Go The Greatest Showman.
Okay. So my final musical in my repertoire for tonight, at least, is The Greatest Showman.
Mm-hmm.
So Vinny and I saw this
Love.
movie. It's a great one. Vinny and I saw this movie first when it came out on Boxing Day. Probably not on Boxing Day, but maybe a couple of days after. And I went in there with an open mind, an open heart, was looking forward to it, was worried about how Vinny was going to take it. That bitch loved it. I remember at the end of the movie, there was a couple of things that I was just like, oh, okay, that was a bit shit. So, i.e., what annoyed me was the way they handled the time period throughout it. They sail to the UK, they go from nothing to everything, has all this shit, but yet his daughters don't age a single day. That bugs the shit out of me. And
I do actually a little bit recall that it being a bit annoying. Yes.
And then when they, at the very end, when he comes back and he comes riding in on an elephant, it's nowhere near as satisfying as watching Miss Hannigan do it in Annie. It's just this weird dude, and they're like, where is he? Where is he? Next minute, an elephant's right in front of him. It's like, how did you not see a fucking elephant walking down the street? So that annoyed me. But outside of that, the songs, the dances, the production are fucking on point. It's loosely based on the story of PJ Barnum and his freak show. Apparently, though, PJ Barnum was quite barbaric in his treatment of the stars of the show and didn't sing, move, or even look like you. And I don't think he had a hot friend like our Zachary, but, you know, that's all right. But yeah.
My love affair with Zac Efron, I tell you what, he's a lot younger than me, but I'll tell you what, he is just exceptional.
Legal. He's legal. And that's the main thing. But yeah, he's gorgeous.
What a beautiful specimen of a man.
That last song they do, the thing where
he can sing, he can dance, he can act.
You know, where he runs through the streets at the end to go, from now on. And they're all in the bar and they're all singing, they're cheersing their beers and they're slamming their beers.
Such a great song.
Oh, it's so good. That would be us in the bar, slamming the beers down from now on, doing the splits and kicking heads back and shit like that. Just for a bit of.
Do you know something about The Greatest Showman? And I don't know that you know this about me. So I remember when you and Vinny were going to see The Greatest Showman, and I saw it twice, and both times on my own. So the first time I went to see it was just about near the end of when it was, you know, starting to run out. But it was, you know, what year was it? It was at least 7, 8 years ago, would you say? Or do you think it's older than that?
No, I think it's younger.
Let's have a look. Do you think? Hang on, let me have a look in Wiki.
So The Greatest Showman came out in 2017, Dales.
Oh, 2017. So what's that, 5 years old?
Well, it came out in December 2017, so it's like 4 and a month.
So I was in on the Central Coast. I moved there in May of that year. So I didn't have a lot of friends. I had a lot of family. I had some friends, but no one had the same interests that I did. So I went to see it after seeing all your posts. It must have been early 2018. And I want a link. I couldn't even convince the link to come to see it with me, right? He was like, not interested, Mum. It's a fucking musical, whatever. So I went and saw it on my own. And you always remember the movies that you see on your own. Do you know what I mean? Like they always stand out.
Yeah.
And I saw it on my own, and I loved it so intensely that I went back the following week and saw it again on my own. And I remember Mel saying to me, she was like, "Did you go and see that movie twice?" Because she knew I'd gone, and then I said something about going to see it. She was like, "Did you go?" And I was like, I needed to see it again. Like, I just loved it so much the first time that I had to see it again.
It was one of those movies. So when we'd finished seeing it, I'd seen Vinny's love of it when it had ended, and I thought, fuck, okay.
I remember your Facebook post. That's what made me go see it, because I'm not a massive Hugh Jackman fan. I'm his early work, but I'm not his early work. There's a whole story behind that I'm not going to get into on this podcast, but
when we'd seen it, like, Vinny was in love with it, and I'm like, well, I'm not tarnishing it. I'm not throwing caution to the wind here. He's in love with the musical. I've got to cash in on.
So does he generally not like musicals?
Not really. It's not his jam as much as it is mine. But then when we went home, I remember.
I didn't realize. I thought he was into them like you were.
No. Not as much as me. So when we were going home, I remember putting the playlist on Apple Music and listening to the songs. And then I fell in love with the movie more so after listening to the songs. And do you remember I
think I remember you telling me that too. I remember you saying that about how obsessed you were with the soundtrack before you'd actually seen the movie.
And then it made it even better. And then do you remember how they had those YouTube clips, and it's got the chick who sings This Is Me, when they were doing the screen testing for it, basically, to try and get the project green lit. And they were singing to a group of people. And there was another one too where Hugh Jackman sings From Now On when he's got a stitch in his nose and he wasn't meant to be singing. Yeah. So we watched it, and then we went back to the cinema and watched it again. And then we went back to the cinema and watched it again. And then we went back 2 more times and watched it again. But every time...
You inspired me to watch it on my own twice.
It's kind of like a 90-minute movie, and like you can actually tell where you are at in the movie based on the songs in the soundtrack. So like all of a sudden you're singing a song that's halfway through the movie. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we're halfway there already. You know, I loved it. It was and they're making a sequel.
I didn't know that. What about the fact that you can listen to the actors' versions of the songs and also the original artists? I'm just going to say one thing. I'm trying to hold my breath. Let it stay this.
Yeah, she didn't actually sing that.
And let this moment. And this song is still on my playlist. Like, it's one of my all-time favorite songs in me. It's just horrible.
I've given you all the ovations, haven't I? Fuck off, bitch.
And then Michelle Williams is back there looking after his children.
I loved the song that she sang.
Yeah, it's very good. I love Michelle Williams. I've always loved her since Dawson's Creek days, since Heath Ledger days. Like, I love her.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Stupid Bitches Say What. We hope you enjoyed the dulcet tones of your hosts, and even more so, we hope we inspired you to get out your musical faves for a rewatch. Make sure you tune in next week as we go back in time.
And don't forget, if you like what you hear, tell your mates and follow our socials and like, share and subscribe. We appreciate you, our faithful stupid bitches. Bye, stupid bitches. So we've done 6.
Yeah.
Did we do them justice? I feel a little bit drunk to tell. I think we mostly sung all the way through.
You know what? They end up being some of the good ones. Sometimes when we think we're really drunk, because we're drunk at this point, we're not as drunk.
I'm not the drunkest I've ever been. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, totally. But I think when we get to that point where it's like, oh my God, we're super drunk right now, We're never actually as drunk as we think we are because we're at the end of drinking, not the beginning. If that makes sense.
It's when I wake up in the morning and I can't remember saying goodbye to you after the podcast that I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck? That's happened a few times. No, that's happened lots of
Tell me
times.
about it.
Yeah, that stupid bitch. He's a stupid bitch. What a stupid bitch. That stupid bitch.